Hey everyone, and welcome back. It is a beautiful Sunday and it is my last day of April vacation. Today is going to be the 26th of April, so we are starting some sunflowers. I'm hoping to get a nice early harvest in about 50 or 60 days since we are going to start some pro-cut sunflowers. This is my first time growing pro-cuts. Last year I just grew some branching ones, and then I tried several times. I think I attempted 4 times before figuring out that I unfortunately just cannot direct sow sunflower seeds here because the little critters like the squirrels and the chipmunks and the birds would always pluck them out and eat them. And even if I had a start and I transplanted it out in the 72 cell count before it started to get a little bit root bound, they actually would still end up digging it up. So I have learned that I need to start them in some larger cell trays. Last year I did it in, I think, a 50 cell pack, but right now we are using 32 cell count trays. I'm hoping to get them a little bit bigger before planting them out in hopes that the critters won't go after and dig them up. And hey, if you're new here, my name is Christy. I am located in Western Massachusetts, Zone 6A, and my average last frost date is between May 9th and May 15th, and I am trying to get sunflowers into the ground as soon as I can. As I mentioned, we are doing pro cuts, and I'm excited because those are pollenless. I know that when I would harvest some of my own sunflowers from my branching ones, and I would put them in a vase on my table, I had a white table runner, and then you would see all the little yellow pollen dropping down. So this year I'm making sure I stick to a lot of pro cuts. I will start a few branching ones too, just in case, because they were a lifesaver at one point. When I didn't have any focal flowers, I could always rely on my branching sunflowers, and we actually started them the same exact time last year. So we are going to start about 100 or so pro cuts, and then later on today, if I have time, I'm going to probably start about 10 or 12 branching sunflowers from seeds that I saved. And then also today, but I won't be recording, I am going to start my last round of celosia in all of my amaranth. I know I have hot biscuits. I think it was like a red spike amaranth, so I'm going to start those. Also this morning, I direct sowed some Chinese forget-me-nots. I did blue and pink. I was late to the game with Ami, so I just chucked some with my yarrow in hopes that it might end up growing and blooming sometime this year. And what else did I do today? Oh, I moved a bunch of stuff into the greenhouse, but that will be on a later video. So with sunflowers, they're pretty straightforward. You just have to get them in about a depth of 1/2 inch. You cover them up. I did them last year in 4-inch pots, and I kind of just water them daily. And I'm actually leaving these in my greenhouse, so these will not be going inside under grow lights. They're just going to go on the top shelf in my greenhouse to germinate, and then we will harden them off for a couple of days and then plant them out. So in hopes that these will do well, I'm going to do a 4 to 6 inch spacing, and we only have 2 varieties that we are starting today. I am going to be starting a lot of the lighter shades, and then in the fall we will be going more towards those nice plums. So today we are going to be starting 2 trays of the Pro Cut White Light, and then a tray of the Lemon Light, and then I'm actually going to be starting 3 trays every single week from here on out. I don't have a cooler, or I do have an unfinished basement, but it's holding about 65 degrees or so with the lights on, and probably down to like 60 or 61 once they are off. So I can only hold them in there for right now until we someday get a cooler of our own. So I'm going to try and do a weekly succession instead of a bi-weekly, which most flower farmers do. And I'm only going to be starting a little bit. So the 3 trays is going to be less than 100 sunflowers. I don't need that much. And I'm going to also account for the fact that some probably will get eaten or some just might not make it. So I'm just going to stick to 3 trays a week, and then I'm going to do probably the same 2 varieties next week, and then we'll slowly go to the yellows and like I said, go into the plums. So let's get started. So I do have a 32 cell count tray right here. It's already filled with some potting soil. I'm not going to be topping them off with vermiculite or anything. We're just going to press the seed in about 1/2 inch, get them into the greenhouse after they are watered well, and then we are going to leave it as that. We're going to make this as simple as possible. So I'm going to set the camera so you can see, and we're going to get to it. All right, so we are going to have a nice little helper. Madeline actually helped us last year, right?
Yep.
Yep, so we did the branching sunflowers in the greenhouse. I think we did about 12 of them. And then I actually grew them in my garden beds, and they were super tall. Like, how tall do you think they were?
Like 10 feet tall.
Probably. They're probably like 10 feet tall. So, as I said before, we have white light, and we are going to have 2 trays full of these. Oh, there goes the umbrellas. And they are nice and simple. These are great for kids to grow. We're actually going to do some cucumbers later today. And those we just grow in the greenhouse as well. So, all right, Malin. So I'm going to make a little hole. And can you just drop the seed in the hole for Mom?
Like one?
One seed, yeah. Now, I was also listening to Lisa Mason Ziegler, and she did mention, I can't remember if it was for spring or summer sunflowers, but you could put 2 in a hole if you wanted.
Yeah.
But we're just going to do 1. I was going to re-listen to that podcast today, but we have just been so busy that I didn't even remember to do so. All right, so you're going to do some here. How about you do ones over there, and I'll do these right here. So I'm just going to plop 1 in. And then we're going to do a second tray. I really hope we have good luck. I think I want to say I did a video, and it was probably 4 times I tried until I realized, yep, just make sure there's only 1. That's okay. If there's 2, just stick it out. Before I was like, nope, we can't do this. We're going to have to do it in the greenhouse. And then I even tried, and I let them get probably like a couple weeks. They had, you know, they were decently big. Oh, there's 2. Here, put 1 here. And they would still dig them up. So I had to let them get a little bit bigger. So that's why I got these 32. That's good. Here, put it back on Mom's hand. That's good. They're all good. They're all good. Awesome. So that way they just have room to grow and they won't get root bounds because they do have a tap root. All right. So now we're going to just gently tuck them in just a little bit. Thank you. And as I said, these are really good to do with your kids because they're nice and big.
Not too small.
Not too small. Oh, there's a couple right there. And Malin loves to help me pick flowers once it comes time. So I'm excited to get these going so we can have a nice early focal flower because I'm not quite sure how my ranunculus are going to fare. All right, do we bury them all? Oh, 1 more right here. 2 more. Good job. Awesome. And then we're going to water these in afterwards. So we're going to do 2 more and then we'll catch you back in a minute. All right, and that wraps things up. We are just going to leave them in the greenhouse. I'm going to make sure that they stay nice and well watered. I'm not going to put a humidity dome on. It's going to be very warm in here. It's about 62 degrees outside. It's probably 20 degrees warmer in here. And this is just a greenhouse that I got from Costco last year. We put it together last spring. It's the 8x10 yardistry greenhouse. I absolutely love it. I don't have it even set up to its full potential. I kind of just open up the vents up top manually because we were missing some pins, so we couldn't put the automatic springs in. And I also have an exhaust fan that I bought and just never had time to install it. So that is something that I hope to do soon. We have our dahlia cuttings hardening off right now. They're all in different stages, so I'm very excited. I'm probably going to do some pinching and rooting some of the whatever I pinch off. So I'm trying to really get my dahlia collection going so we can have lots of different varieties for our bouquets and our mason jars. So if you would like to stay updated with everything that we are growing and pretty soon harvesting and putting together bouquets, please make sure that you hit like and subscribe and hit that bell button, and I will see you all later. Happy gardening. Bye.